Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you are joining me, rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We know that there are plenty of people out there listening and plenty of people out there who can still subscribe. Make sure that if you're following me on Facebook, that you like and follow the page. We really do appreciate it. As I continue to bring you, my thoughts in the morning. Happy hump day, most of you out there. Hopefully your week is going well and everything that you want to get accomplished, you're accomplishing. You know what I wanted to get accomplished? I wanted to start to try to turn things positive, look at some positives going into the Super Bowl. But it's really difficult because so much that's out there is negative. It brings me back to the Brian Flores and Eric Bienemy stories, because it floors me how quickly guys go from heroes to villains. Brian Flores, at the end of the season, was looked at as one of the rising stars in football, as one of those guys that you want to have as your coach, as one of those guys that every other team would line up to have as their coach. And with so many openings, you would almost have just thought that if Miami was dumb enough to fire Brian Flores, that every single team with an opening would immediately fly him in for an interview, and there would be a bidding war over him. In some respects, Miami would have actually been better trading Brian Flores instead of just firing him. They wouldn't have had to pay the rest of his salary. They wouldn't have had to answer all of those questions. It would have kept them from doing what they've tried to do, which is assassinate him as a coach and as a person. It really is an interesting play, because at the end of the season, this man was the guy. When the Kansas City Chiefs started making their runs, Eric Bienemy was the guy. And then, as one Benjamin Albright would put it, 14 teams said, nah, he's not the guy. This man, and I haven't actually counted, so I'm assuming this is right, has gone on 14 interviews for head coaching jobs and has not received one head coaching job. And everyone thinks, not everyone, and all of the people who are floored that people are wondering why Eric Bienemy can't get a job, the only thing that they have to point to, the only thing that it continues to come back to, is something that many of the people who are on social media right now were not even alive when it happened. That almost nobody that's on social media that covers these things were actually covering sports when this happened. That's how old these things go back. That is how old these things go back. Like I said, it's easy for these guys to go from hero to villain in no time. Let me show you what I mean, okay? So, and I wrote some things down, so I made sure I was kind of keeping my thoughts together. When Brian Flores was fired, it came out that he he had a hard time getting along with management. He had a hard time getting along with players. And essentially, that's why he was fired. Yet, the only people we confirmed and know that he may have had some issue with was the GM and the quarterback. And that probably it was because of the GM's decision to draft said quarterback. Maybe also the GM's decision not to address any of the pressing needs that Flores believed that he needed. So that's the one thing. He was made to seem as if he can't deal with management. He doesn't understand how to relate to the players. Well, if you say that about someone, then you're saying that they can't be a head coach in the NFL, right? Right. Except for this man just had 2 straight winning seasons. Then, when the allegations came out and proof was put in front of people, when the allegations came out and the proof was put in front of people, their immediate response was, this is baseless. It's without merit. The NFL said it. The Giants said it. The Dolphins said it. Media members said it. People who are supposed to be acting as impartial, unbiased, just give you the information, guys, were bringing their opinions to light on it. See, that's the blurred lines that we have in journalism right now. I have a piece on CWN Sports on my gene therapy column and podcast called We Are the Story. It talks about how media members are a part of the story now. We don't just report it, but we are a part of the story. You should go and check it out, CWN Sports. So they said it was lies. Then they said, well, we don't understand. He's not even black. Ha ha. He's not even black. So then now all of his claims are baseless because he wasn't black, supposedly. Not understanding that there's Afro-Latinos, that a lot of people in Latin America, in South America are darker than me. That's what they said, though. Then they said he was just bitter. He was mad because he wasn't the Giants selection. That he was upset because he didn't get the job. I'm pretty sure that if Brian Flores was stacking jobs up as what's the most attractive organization to coach for, he would not choose the Giants. You know why? They've run through coaches like water. They don't have an answer at quarterback. The offensive line is super suspect. Right? So now he's going to go and do the same thing he was just doing in Miami, except now he's got to take a step back and start that all over again. Outside of the fact that he's from New York, that's the only reason why the Giants would be more attractive than some of these other jobs. Then when they started, like when the law firm, while the allegations were coming out, people said, oh, well, he's a black man again now, but he hired an all-white firm. He hired an all-white firm. That was the knock. He was a black man that hired an all-white firm. Now, never mind that all of this stuff happened in a short amount of time, but we do realize that there are things that are required in order to hire a lawyer in a particular state. They have to have a license in that state, depending upon where he filed the claim at. So he had to have a license in that state. He has to understand that litigation. He can't just go out and go in the yellow pages and, hey, find me the black person that knows how to do this. And there's no guarantee that black person is qualified or is good at that job or understands that world or has the financial base to be able to take on that case. maybe those black people in the area were already busy with stuff. Maybe they didn't want to attach themselves to the claim because now that might be publicity that they don't want. You know, not everybody's out here just chasing ambulance. There are lawyers out there with integrity. What if he talked to a black lawyer and said, hey, look, man, I'd love to help you, but, right? Then we find out that the person in charge of the law firm that he's using is a childhood friend. But they use that to try to discredit him. Hired a white firm. Then they flipped it because now Lovie Smith gets the job with the Texans. By the way, Lovie Smith, who has a winning record as a head coach in the NFL, who did not just get fired in Tampa Bay. If anyone actually knows, there was a power struggle. He lost the power struggle. He was going to be out anyway. They were trying to get this man to continue to hire people that he didn't want. He wasn't down for that. They got him up out of the paint. He got Wally pipped by his own offensive coordinator, who then took the job and sucked the entire time he had the job. He went to Illinois. He's not a college coach. But by the way, he went to Illinois. What college coach has won in Illinois? I'll wait. So then he gets the defensive coordinator job with the Houston Texans with infinitely more experience than David Culley had. So if you make a mistake in firing David Culley because you want to hire a guy with no experience, and then you realize that's probably going to be a bad move, the best thing to do in order to keep things going in the right direction, which they seem to be in Houston, is to hire the defensive coordinator, who, by the way, did a really good job this season. It wasn't as if he was awful this season. The Houston Texans defense actually played pretty well when you consider how bereft of talent the entire team was. So now we've got Lovie Smith taking over at Houston, and people say, oh, well, Brian Flores cost himself the Texans job because of the lawsuit. If he had just waited to file the lawsuit until he got the Texans job, then it wouldn't have mattered. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know how distraction works, the moment that Brian Flores files the lawsuit alleging that these people have broken the rule and that they have done things that are under the board. The moment he files that lawsuit, he's not coaching Houston anymore. Why? Because it's going to be a complete distraction to the team. He's going to have to answer questions every single day because the coach is available almost every single day. They're going to ask him about updates. Why do you think Deshaun Watson didn't play? Because every single day he would have had to answer questions. And that would have been a distraction to the team. So as soon as Flores files the lawsuit, they're going to put him on leave. He's going to have a break. He's never going to coach. Guess who the head coach is going to be? Probably Lovie Smith, who would still be there as the defensive coordinator. Make no mistake about it, though, Lovie Smith is more qualified to be a head coach in the NFL over everybody who got a job. Every single one, including the Super Bowl champion that got the job down in Jacksonville. Lovie Smith is more qualified. He has more years. He has more experience. He understands the game. He's never lost a step. Don't let the white beard fool you. But they use that to try to discredit Flores. Oh, He cost himself the job. He mistimed it. There is no mistiming for injustice. Injustice is injustice regardless of when it happens. Then they do the ultimate. This is the number one way that people always look to turn a black man from a hero to a villain. They get black men who never are on the side of other black men to vilify him. So here comes Acho and his uncomfortable conversations with nobody. Uncomfortable conversations with a guy who's lost his identity. That's what they should call it. And now here comes Acho. All of a sudden now he cares that the black man didn't hire a firm that was black. Now all of a sudden he cares and he says, well, when a black man has a problem with white authority, he goes out and gets white people to. Now Acho, who preaches inclusion and love and diversity, now all of a sudden he wants Flores to be pro-black. How convenient. And then all of the people who wanted to discredit Flores comes back. And now they have several things to choose from. They have several things to be able to pull from to tell you why Flores is lying, why he's not a good person, why he doesn't even actually care about black people, why this is all a money grab. That's what they will tell you about this man who worked his way up from an assistant scout to a head coach in anonymity, that all of a sudden now he wants to take the easy road. He wants to just be in the limelight, even though we can see every time he's on film, he's uncomfortable in front of the camera. We'll tell you that guy is seeking fame. It's sickening. What they're doing to Eric Bienemy isn't the same type of sickening, but it's sad. But it's sad. And here's why it's sad. Because we've discussed already that Eric Bienemy has a checkered past. But it is a past. We're not talking about 2-3 years ago. We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're not talking about 10 years ago. We're not talking about 15 years ago. We're talking about 20 plus, not even 20 plus years ago. This man has made some decisions in his life that were not the right decisions. He's done some things that were not the right things. He's paid for them. Counseling and losing jobs, and he's made some poor decisions. And yet, with that, everybody tells you that, well, these are the reasons why he's not going to get a job. These are the reasons why he'll never. And then they'll throw in there, oh, he doesn't interview well. So you're telling me that the 20 years plus is costing him a job today. That means you're telling me he's never going to be able to get by it. And then the argument comes, well, if he interviewed better. I just sat back here and told you, Brian Flores doesn't interview well. We've seen him. I just watched an interview. With the new Dolphins head coach, Coach McDaniel. He does not interview well. I'm sorry. That's not somebody I want to listen to. He's corny. He's not saying anything original. You telling me that that's the guy that interviews well? Or does he just say like clever stuff that you guys don't understand, and so you think he's smarter than what he really is? Bingo. There are several other coaches in the NFL who don't interview well. We know it because we see them on a regular basis. And we go, Joe Judge, not a good interview. Right? Hell, Lovie Smith, to a certain extent, isn't like knocking your socks off in the interview. So we've seen guys be able to get beyond a bad interview and still get the opportunity to be the coach, but not Bienemy. And then they just go back to, oh, well, he did this at Colorado. He did it. Not the people who actually did it, but because he recruited those kids, he's responsible for everything that they do in their life. How absolutely ridiculous is that? How do you hold this man accountable for the things that other people do in their life? And then you claim he knew about it when you have no proof that he knew about it. Then you claim the man is banned from Colorado, when in reality he's not. You make him out to be a monster, and yet you can't point to anything monstrous he's done ever, actually. You can point to bad decisions he's made, things that he's probably not proud of that he's done, things that he's had to pay for because he was wrong. But nothing that makes him a monster, and you can't point to anything in the last 20, 21, 22 years. What are we talking about? Why are we vilifying people? Don't we have enough real villains out here? It's crazy. We're using these shields, and the NFL is sitting back going, yeah, pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to the actual real problem is, while y'all are doing all that, we're hiring more and more white guys to be head coaches. Shout out to Lovie. But if you don't think that these people are trying to have Lovie Smith be a temporary stopgap until they can actually hire Josh McCown, y'all have lost your mind. Now, I know Lovie's not there for that. But in Lovie's defense, if he ever wanted back in as a head coach in the NFL, this job is the only job he was going to get. For all of the reasons that people will tell us why he doesn't deserve this job. It's so easy to turn a hero into a villain. It just seems that it's always with our guys. I don't understand it. I don't understand why things have to be so ugly. It's a part of the world that I'll never get down with. It's a part of the world that I'm never going to be cool with. Anyway, happy hump day, everybody. We're going to be positive tomorrow, I promise. We're going to do some positive stuff tomorrow. No negative tomorrow. I promise. I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree. But whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Till next time, peace.